Apes and Apettes, welcome back to the channel. It is time for your intraday update on none other than AMC stock. AMC currently up about 5%, still well above the 50 and the 100-day moving averages. And if this persists throughout the rest of the day today, well, we're going to be seeing AMC stock likely a lot higher in a couple of days and over the next couple of weeks. And a lot of that does come down to trading algorithms, but a lot of it can be factored into this court case as well. There's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is spreading in the hedge fund community that is a part of this arbitrage trade, meaning that a lot of them are starting to say, is this trade going to pan out? How is this trade going to pan out? Is it currently worth it to be in this trade? And for most of those answers, it's not worth it. It's not going to pan out how they think. And it's probably going to take a lot longer than what they were initially expecting. After all, we have our next court date at the end of June. That means those cost of borrow fees are hurting. Now, why is AMC stock rising? And why has it been rising over the last couple of days? And why is it likely to continue to rise? Well, hedge funds that are a part of this arbitrage trade, the arbitrage trade is short AMC, go long an ape. Well, if there is doubt that this conversion is, one, not going to happen, or it's going to take a lot longer than what they expect, well, they can go out and buy themselves some AMC stock, and that hedges out that arbitrage trade. It will limit some of that potential loss or some of that potential risk from now until really this whole thing is resolved. So it does make a lot of sense why AMC stock is rising, and you can see firms such as Intra Capital, the largest owner of Ape, going out and buying 1 million shares of AMC. It's helping, and I think it will continue to be this way for days and weeks to come, especially as AMC continues to look more and more bullish today. A fairly bullish day, I would say the least. We haven't broke out above and held a close above both of these moving averages literally at all, right? Even back here on March 14th, when AMC stock hit a high of $5.76 per share, that was great and all, but we didn't hold a close above either one of these moving averages, right? The prior days before then, sure, you closed above the 50, but not above the 100-day at all. AMC stock looks to change that here today. Now, let's give you guys a rundown of the data, and then I want to get into this article. It says, why the ape conversion delay has been a nightmare for AMC arbitrage traders. So let's get into it. And if you guys have not already, it's a good time to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So number one, the live short interest of free float is sitting at 26.18%, 135 million shares that are currently sold short. That is a lot of shares that are sold short that are paying these cost to borrow fees. And that's ultimately the one factor that I don't think a lot of people take into consideration too much. A lot of people will say FTDs don't matter and cost of borrow rates don't matter and none of this data matters. And in all reality, all of it matters, especially these cost to borrow fees, because cost to borrow fees is the single thing that is helping to get a lot of this bullishness that we're seeing right now. In my personal opinion, if it wasn't for these cost to borrow fees being this high, you wouldn't see a lot of institutional investors wanting to hedge out their positions using AMC common stock, buying AMC common stock. It's those cost to borrow fees. Now, cost to borrow average going up today just a little bit to 130% or 350%. I don't know what I was looking at. 350% for the cost to borrow average. Cost to borrow max sitting at 416.5%. Cost to borrow minimum at 339.1%. Interactive Brokers short availability has 400,000 shares available with a cost to borrow rate of about 200%. So a little bit more shares coming online here today, but still the if we click over here at the overall no, it's right here. The utilization has been at 100% for the last 18 months or so now. So there really hasn't been a vast majority of shares. Like there's not an abundance of shares that are out there for shorts to cover on their short position. So it's going to continue to fuel, I think, a lot of bullishness, especially when you get these 5% days. Some shorts, they need to hedge out their positions. That's a fact. Not everyone has unlimited capital. If you're at the top of the totem pole, if you're some of the large guys a part of this trade, sure, you can afford to be in this trade a little bit longer, but vast majority of these arbitrage trades are small and mid-sized firms. Now, the dollar amount currently sold short in AMC stock is $706.5 million. The higher this goes, the more bullish you are for shorts to get squeezed out of their short positions. It's not always the short interest of free float, but the dollar amount as well that is currently sold short, because even if this stays the same, right, 26.5% short interest, but AMC's share price goes higher, well, you're going to start to see more mark-to-market losses. And that is exactly what is happening currently right now, just since, what was it, April? Since mid-April, short sellers have seen 417 million in mark-to-market losses since mid-April. That's a lot. And that's not factoring in cost to borrow fees that are hundreds of percents. That's simply the value of AMC stock actually going higher. Now, this title of this article says, why the APE conversion delay has been a nightmare for AMC arbitrage traders. The delay in converting AMC preferred equities into common stock has widened the spread between AMC and APE. Here's what you should know. Go ahead and click down. It goes through the proposals, right? The number one, to increase AMC's authorized common stock so that AMC preferred equity units can be converted into common shares, to effect a reverse split of the company's common shares at a ratio of 1-for-10, to give AMC more flexibility to issue additional common equity in the future. It said 87% of shareholders voted in favor of this, but that retail investors argue that APE shares really countered that, right? If you consider the common stockholders, it wasn't such a high ratio. And keep in mind, guys, I think in the short term, this court situation, the court's delaying this or court's making the reverse split not happen, I think that is bullish for AMC and the short squeeze. But over the long term, I don't really care what happens. Keep that in mind. Reverse split or not, I think if you get a reverse split, AMC is going to raise a lot of capital, and that's also going to be very bullish for AMC. But it's going to take longer, right? It's going to take more months for that to actually play out. Now, says, however, even though proposals have been approved, they cannot be carried out. That's because a class action lawsuit claims AMC board members breached their fiduciary duties by carrying out a strategy to dilute the voting power of AMC Class A stockholders. The plaintiff in the suit is one of AMC's shareholders, the Allegheny County Employees Retirement System. The pension fund has agreed to a settlement with AMC that involves a payment to the plaintiff in the form of common stock. This would entail a share dilution equivalent to less than 5% of outstanding shares. In return, AMC is seeking a status quo order to be moved ahead of the conversion of the APEs into AMC common shares and also the reverse stock split. However, before anything can happen, the Delaware Chancery Court must approve of the settlement agreement. Why has the hearing been proposed? AMC had expected that a hearing to settle the case would be held on April 27th. However, Delaware Chancery Court Vice Chancellor Morgan T. Zern has pushed back the hearing due to an unusually high degree of investor interest in the case. Quote, I'm open to getting this wrapped up by the end of June, but I think it's going to be almost impossible to do this in less than 60 days, given the stockholder interest that we anticipate, she said. Zern said that she has received many letters from shareholders expressing concerns about the proposed settlement. She said that these letters are suggestive because they overwhelmingly object to the settlement. On the news that it may take another 60 days or so for the conversion of the APEs and reverse stock split, AMC shares rose 5%, while APE units fell about 6.5%. In the past few months, it's been clear that the performance of AMC and APE are oversensitive to the proposed conversion and reverse settlement. Let's go ahead and go down here. Why arbitrage traders should be careful. Technically, there should be no price discrepancy between AMC shares and APE units, but ever since APE started being publicly traded, the share prices of both equities have never been close. Today, AMC shares trade around $5, while APE units are just above $1. Some traders have been using an arbitrage strategy, shorting AMC while going long apes, with the idea that eventually the two would converge. When shareholders approved the ape conversion, there was every indication that AMC/ape arbitrage trade would be a success, and that's what I've talked about before. A lot of them thought this would be a home run trade. Doesn't look like it. But what had looked like a very easy and profitable trade has started to look like a trap. The legal ups and downs of this whole situation has increased shorting activity in AMC. This is reflected in borrow fees, which have peaked near an incredible 1,000%. As a result, AMC short sellers have seen more than $417 million in mark-to-market losses since mid-April. Still, investors are confident that the prices of both equities will eventually converge. Intra Capital, the private investment firm that bought 60 million ape units and holds an agreement with AMC to purchase a further 106.5 million in ape, has also decided to enter the arbitrage trade. The investment firm recently disclosed that it had shorted 11,300 shares of AMC stock to complete the delivery of shares exercised through call options. However, earlier that month, Intra disclosed that it was shorting 50,000 AMC shares to deliver them to another party, and before that, a whopping 750,000 shares for the same reason. There has been a great deal of overconfidence that this arbitrage trade will have a happy ending for those who are long ape and short AMC. But so far, due to speculative nature and unsustainable borrow fees for AMC stock, the ape conversion plan has only caused a major headache for arbitrage traders. And that is the conclusion of this article. And again, that highlights what we've been saying. This trade is not a home run. Far from it. And now you have another 60 days that hedge funds are going to have to pay these cost of borrow fees, that the free float is going to be sold short 26%. Right there, you're vulnerable to seeing a short squeeze. High cost of borrow fees, high short interest, and a lot of uncertainty with this court proceeding. I would bet personally, not financial advice, don't bet anyone on this, don't do this, but I would bet that this is not over on June 29th or June 30th, whenever the next court date is. It's not. There's going to be another court date. There's going to be some kind of action that will take place that I think will be bullish for AMC. Just the fact of this getting delayed is bullish for AMC. And it wouldn't surprise me if you start to see things like cost of borrow rates as well as failure to deliver start to really ramp up after last week's major option expiration on April 21st and this week's option expiration on April 28th. There's probably going to be a lot more failure to delivers. There's probably going to be a lot more buying pressure heading into AMC. And at the time of recording this video, AMC stock is up 4.5%. Really, I don't care where we end by the end of the day as far as a percentage basis. You really want to watch that 50 and 100-day moving average. You want to see that close, or you want to see AMC close above that. You have not seen that in a very long time, right? These levels have served as major resistance in the past, and I mean, you really want to see the stock close above that. I cannot stress that enough. If it does, AMC stock is going much higher from here over the next days and weeks. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this intraday update. Not too much else actually happened throughout the day. We've been pretty steady in between 4.5% and 5.5% positive with AMC stock. So any new details or updates that we get by the end of the day, I will bring that to you guys, as well as the earnings today in after hours. You're going to have names such as Amazon, Intel, and Snapchat, as well as Cloudflare and Pinterest that will also be reporting earnings. So that is it. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.